Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto. Let's dive in. First, we have Senator Cynthia Lummis looking for the Department of Justice to investigate Binance.us as well as Tether. She alleges that they have performed illicit activities with regard to terrorist financing. Now, I understand where she's coming from and I understand where some of the ire is coming from. But that would mean that we would have to investigate everybody that's in charge of fiat, right? Because illicit activity. We would have to investigate every single bank because illicit activity. There are checks and balances in place. There are compliance and regulations and risk management practices in place to try to stop that. Now, I will tell you that that's not easy. It is not easy at all. You can fake some of these systems. Once you understand how these systems work and how they are, you use that formula to open up more accounts. And that's what they do. They constantly poke and prod and test to see, can I get in doing this? Can I get in doing that? It's harder to stop them than it is for them, bad actors, to get in. I don't know. And I doubt that you'd be able to say that, or let me rephrase. I doubt that they will find that either company was knowingly participating in illicit activity, right? It's not to say that the platforms and the stablecoin were not leveraged for illicit activity to finance illicit activity, but I don't know that they'll be able to say that people, maybe some people working there were able to help do things, but I don't know that they'll be able to say the companies as whole entities were involved in illicit activities. I think it's more of they should be audited from a security perspective, right? Walk in, do you have the right KYC in place? Do you have the right anti-money laundering in place and anti-terrorism, practices in place? That's what I'd be looking at. I don't know that brings up a criminal level of investigation. So I'm careful of, what I perceive to be something that should be investigated by the DOJ, because that's a big gun to pull out. I would rather send in my smaller guns. And if they find something, then I can call the DOJ, right? That would be, to me, the normal process. So that's what I'm paying attention to. But that is a hit against Tether and Binance.us. Amazingly enough, the SEC is being ridiculously silent on almost all things Bitcoin spot ETF. Gary Gensler did get out and say, hey, we have about 8 to 10 of said applications on the desk. But no kind of leaking around Grayscale, because Grayscale is different. Grayscale's got an existing trust that they want to convert to a spot ETF. So that's a totally different direction than, let's say, an ARK Invest, a Fidelity, BlackRock, 21 shares, the rest of them. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at that and I'm kind of going, wow, that's going to be interesting. Now, something else that I find interesting, because I belong to the Metaverse Standards Organization, looking at Mastercard and Moonpay team up to offer, Web3 innovations. We're talking credential standards, fiat onboarding, offboarding, just all kinds of things around identity management. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about that and I'm just going, wow, that's kind of big. Because Moonpay, if I look at Moonpay, to me, Moonpay is, it's a payment company, but more on a fintech side, especially when it comes to Web3. Good fiat on-ramp, off-ramp. And then when I look at MasterCard, I look at MasterCard as a part of the old guard that has clearly found a way to make it in the upcoming world. That to me is huge, really huge. So from a stock investment perspective, I'm looking at MasterCard and I'm saying I'd probably invest in MasterCard and probably Visa as well, faster than I would invest in any other card. Like I would never invest in Discover, right? I just don't like Discover as a business model. American Express, haven't heard much. Like crickets, haven't heard much from them. So I'm still trying to figure, well, what are you guys doing? You know what I mean? But Visa and MasterCard are actually making moves. Partnering with Moonpay, MasterCard's made a brilliant move, and I would say so has Moonpay. So I'm paying attention to that space because anything tied to Web3, I immediately look toward gaming, which means I'm immediately looking toward monetization. In order for you to do that, you've got to pay somehow, right? It's going to be crypto. It's going to be credit cards. Oh, see what I mean? So that's actually a big deal. I'd also be looking to see if Visa makes a similar deal with a similar kind of company outside of Moonpay. So that's what I'm paying attention to as well. Now, something else that caught my attention is Solana. I keep telling you guys, Solana has moved up almost, actually more than 2 times as much as Bitcoin. Now, when you think about that, year to date, when you think about that, what could I do with a Solana? Yeah, they're on my list, right? Something else that makes me have them on my list is how they're going about growing their community. And they've opened up an incubator, a Web3 incubator. They want to find and work with Web3 startups to introduce them to their resources, their platform, and connections. Because if you're a startup, one of the things that, yes, you need money, you need connections. And that's going to be a very, very, very big deal. Very big deal. So I'm paying attention to that. Now, not somebody, but a few people have asked me, so, with everything that's going on with BlackRock and Fidelity and the rest of them, but especially Grayscale, how would I play Grayscale? For me personally, I would purchase Grayscale Bitcoin Trust for sure, right? Because it's at a discount compared to Bitcoin. It's also moved more than 2 times as much as Bitcoin. Yep, just like Solana. But this is on a traditional finance side, so I can buy some GPTC shares, right? On the traditional market side, while still DCAing into Bitcoin. So diminishing my risk, but maximizing my return, right? Because this is at a discount compared to this. And some people would say, well, then why buy Bitcoin at all? Different use cases. This is going to increase my money by a lot. And there'll be a really nice pop when they finally get approved for that Bitcoin, spot ETF. Something else is on the other side. Why would I buy Bitcoin? And that's because when I buy Bitcoin, I'll be able to leverage my Bitcoin holdings in a traditional sense because it's a store of value. So imagine I'd be able to say, well, I want to buy a house. Here's my collateral. I don't think that you probably could collateralize other digital assets, but I think Bitcoin is the most sound and true digital asset to collateralize. That's why. That would be my move. Anyway, you know what we should do? We should get into the numbers. So let's go do that. All right, so the fear and greed index is at 70. It was at 72 earlier this week, then 71, now 70. Yes, declining, still in the greed section. Just saying. We're down a little bit in TVL, about $2 billion. We're at 52 billion. We're at 54 billion. 54, almost 55 billion. Now we're at 52, almost 53 billion. I wanted to see this scale because I want you to pay attention to something. I told you, excuse me, that if we keep bouncing around here, 35,000, which is the next ceiling, right? I should probably mark that. I should probably put something right here at 35, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But we should be paying attention to what we're doing at that number, at that 35,000 number, right? I'm going to have to add that later because it's not going to be exact, and I want it to be exactly 35,000. The reason why I say that is because we keep bouncing around, hitting 35, coming back down, or hitting near 35 and coming back down. That's the ceiling right now. But if we keep bouncing right there, when all that positive news hits, when all those catalysts hit, if we're above 35, 40 is a no joke. That's easy to hit, right? I think that's going to be almost ridiculously easy to hit. So that's what I'm paying attention to right now. So at that 35,000 mark, if I really just hit the top of those two right there, probably right about here, right? And I'll change the color of this one because it should not be that color. Let's see, lines, color. It's been a while since I've changed the color here, but I'll change the color. I'll change the color for next time. But what I'm looking at is if we can, like I said, if we keep bouncing around here and we're so close to 35, I just need us to break 35 and stay at 35. Move laterally across 35. If we move laterally across 35 and then one of these spot ETFs hit, all bets are off. I think you can easily hit 40. Like I told you earlier in the week, the numbers that we were at previously, where we were looking at 25,000, I just don't see it. I just don't see it anymore. I don't see that as an option. If you want to look at the big board, yeah, we're red, but look at where we're red. We've got higher highs, right? We've got higher lows. That's what I'm paying attention to. Ethereum yesterday was at 1,800. So if I was just looking at the market today, would I be looking at Ethereum? Yes, I'd be looking at Ethereum, Bitcoin. Those are my mainstay going to DCA, dollar cost average to get into those. Cardano, definitely going to get in. Matic, again, another one. BCH, another one. I keep telling you about BCH. There are a few here, and I'll have to go through. I'm going to have to start figuring out how I can go through, maybe shoot a video on a handful of coins that I'm paying attention to and why, and kind of group them and keep going down my list so that you can understand why I would get involved with those coins, why I would invest in those coins. But that's where I am. Anyway, this is Eddie J on Crypto for Grow My Bag TV. If you like what I'm doing, drop me a note. Love hearing from you guys. I've been hearing a lot from you guys, even more now. And I'm also interested in hearing from you guys about how I can improve. Somebody let me know that she's 71 years old and she does not want to be inundated by emails. Excuse me. So I said, well, that's a separate service. So we're going to have the social media platform, right? And then on top of the social media platform, you can choose to receive, obviously we'll pay for you'd have to pay for that service. But you'd receive emails or alerts that tell you we have an article for you that'll be up exclusively for those people for the next 2 hours. We've got news. We're going to share it with everybody, but for the next 2 hours, it's exclusive. On our platform, it's exclusive to you. So different service. We'll probably start off with immediate emails on that, and then we'll open it up to make it so that you can select, maybe a daily email blast or a weekly, and we'll see how that goes. And I'll probably roll all of that up into, a weekly roundup anyway, as well as a monthly roundup on a given topic. Anyway, this is Eddie J on Crypto for Eddie J on Crypto. Sorry about that. On Grow My Bag TV. It's a lot going on. Sorry for all the stuttering. I hope you have a great day. And if you don't hear from me, I hope you have a great weekend. Bye-bye.